Okay, so imagine like you're at a party, all dressed up, and you go to give someone a quick kiss on the cheek, but instead of, it being a cute moment, you leave a bright red burn mark on them.
Oh,
That's
wow.
exactly what happened to
Right.
one mom in Brighton. And it's what we're going to be looking at today in our deep dive. We're diving into the world of lip clumping glosses
Interesting.
using this news article that details Sarah Davies' experience
Yo.
to find out not just what happened to her, but
Yeah.
the science behind these products and, the potential risks.
I think that's a good idea because, we usually think of lip gloss as like pretty harmless.
Right.
Just a little sparkle, maybe some flavor.
Totally.
But lip plumpers,
Yeah.
as Sarah's story shows us,
Yeah.
can get a little intense.
Yeah, so let's rewind and go back to Sarah's experience. So she applied this popular lip plumper Too Faced Lip Injection Extreme,
Okay.
and she was heading out with her 8-year-old daughter to a party. Everything seemed fine for like 2 hours, and then she gives her daughter a quick peck on the cheek, and
Yeah.
that's when,
That's when it all went wrong.
yeah, a bright red burning mark appears
Oh, no.
on her daughter's cheek, like almost instantly.
Wow.
So it really makes you think like what we put on our lips
Right.
can have consequences, beyond just what we experience ourselves.
Exactly. And it could last a while, too. So,
Yeah.
like, it just.
Yeah, and she said it was 2 hours after she had applied it
Wow.
that enough of the product remained to cause that kind of reaction.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, I would think that like a lip gloss by then would have worn off.
Right. You would think so.
It makes you think about what kind of invisible residues we're carrying around.
You know what's interesting about this, though?
Yeah.
Is the science behind all of it. So, most lip plumpers, like the one Sarah used,
Yeah.
contain this ingredient called capsaicin.
Okay.
And it's actually the same compound that gives chili peppers.
Oh. So that's what gives it the tingle.
Exactly. That tingling sensation that people associate with these glosses.
Right.
Yeah, that's the capsaicin.
So how does that like actually work to plump your lips?
Okay, so capsaicin is really interesting.
Okay.
It binds to a receptor in our skin cells called TRPV1,
Oh.
and it's responsible for sensing like heat and pain.
Mm-hmm.
When capsaicin activates this receptor,
Yeah.
it triggers a response that widens the blood vessels in the area,
Okay.
which increases blood flow.
So it's like
And that increased blood flow,
it's tricking your lips into thinking they're on fire.
basically,
Yeah.
just a tiny bit,
Wow.
which is why you get that plumped up look.
Okay, so then do you build up like a tolerance to it?
That's a great question.
Like how people can get used to eating increasingly spicy food.
Exactly, you're on the right track.
Mm.
So repeated exposure to capsaicin can actually desensitize
Oh, wow.
those TRPV1 receptors
Interesting.
over time. That's why, some people who use it a lot might find that the tingling
Yeah,
sensation,
they might not even feel it anymore.
decreases with continued use.
Wow.
And they might even be tempted and think, oh, I need to apply more.
Right, to get the same effect.
Exactly, to get that same feeling.
That's concerning though, because you think about like even a tiny amount hours later
Right.
can cause a reaction in someone else.
Exactly. It's not just about your own tolerance at that point.
Right.
It's about the potential for, unintended consequences for others.
Right. And speaking of that, the company did respond to this incident and they said that, sensitivities to their product vary,
Mm-hmm.
but they also recommended that you consult a healthcare provider.
Right. Well, and it's a pretty typical response in the beauty industry.
Yeah.
You know, companies have to acknowledge potential issues while also protecting their product.
Yeah.
But it does raise the question, how much responsibility lies with the consumer
Right.
versus the manufacturer. And, Sarah mentioned
Yeah.
that she had thrown away the packaging without even reading the warnings.
Oh.
So it makes you think, how effective are warnings?
Right.
Even if they exist, if they're not readily visible,
Yeah.
or if people don't even think to look for them.
Yeah, because I'm definitely guilty of just tossing out an instruction leaflet
Oh, yeah.
without a second thought.
Mm-hmm.
You just assume that something like lip gloss is safe.
Right. It seems so harmless.
Yeah, but I guess we can't take that for granted.
No, not at all.
So it's a good reminder.
Definitely. And what's crazy is that Sarah's story
Yeah,
is not like a one-off thing.
really.
There are a bunch of reports from other moms talking about similar reactions in their kids
Oh, wow.
after they came into contact with this lip gloss.
So this is like more than just an isolated incident.
Yeah, and it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Because you start to see some patterns in these other reports.
What kind of patterns?
Well, one woman was saying that her nephew got all these like red marks all over his face after a kiss.
Oh my gosh.
And another mother said her son broke out in hives
Oh no.
after touching the gloss. So it seems like the reactions, they could be different for everyone, which is kind of typical with capsaicin sensitivity.
Right.
But like the fact that we're seeing all these cases with kids
Yeah.
makes you think.
Yeah, it's like almost like those warning signs you see in nature.
What?
Like if one bird is acting weird, it might be nothing.
Yeah,
But if a whole flock is doing something strange, something's up.
exactly.
It makes you wonder, like, are certain age groups more sensitive to this stuff?
Mhm.
Or are there specific ingredients or, like, formulations that are worse than others?
And those are all good questions.
Yeah.
And that's what needs more research.
Right.
Obviously, these reports aren't like scientific studies,
Right.
but they're really helpful in pointing out
Yeah.
potential issues.
And it's like crowdsourcing information about a product's effect.
Exactly.
But then it also makes me wonder how much of this information just gets lost or like dismissed,
Right.
and how many people have a reaction and they're just like, huh, that's weird.
Probably tons.
And they just move on and they don't report it.
Most likely we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
And this brings us back to consumer awareness and education.
Yeah.
Like, do we even have enough information
Right.
as consumers to make good choices about the stuff we use?
Mm-hmm.
And are companies actually doing enough
Yeah.
to tell people about the risks?
Yeah, I feel like there's a big gap in knowledge here.
I think so too.
Like, you've got scientists who understand this stuff,
Right.
but then you have the average person who doesn't, and they just rely on, like, marketing claims or what their friends say.
Right. And they don't always know the science behind it.
So how do we bridge that gap?
I think it's a few things.
Okay.
First, we got to make scientific info easier to understand.
Right.
Not like using jargon, but, explaining things simply.
Yeah.
And then we also got to encourage people to think critically.
Okay.
Just because something says it's natural or safe doesn't mean it actually is.
So it's about being like a savvy consumer.
Yeah.
It's not just reading labels, but actually understanding them. Yes. And questioning things. Right. And doing your research. Exactly. That sounds good, but also a little overwhelming. I know. It can be a lot. Yeah. But think of it as like building your knowledge. Okay. So you can apply it to anything, not just beauty products.
I like that. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
So, like, what can our listeners do right now to be more informed?
Well, they can start by just paying attention to ingredient lists.
Okay.
You don't have to memorize everything.
Right.
Just get familiar with common ingredients.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that can cause like allergies or whatever.
It's like learning a new language. One ingredient at a time.
Yeah. And what about those reports we talked about?
Yeah.
People can actually help with that too.
Really?
Like if you have a reaction to something, even if it's small,
Yeah.
don't just ignore it.
Okay.
Tell the company. Or even like share it online. So it's like that saying.
Yeah.
If you see something, say something.
Exactly.
But in this case, it's if you feel something, share something.
Exactly.
It might seem like a small thing, but it could make a big difference.
Absolutely. It all adds to our understanding of these products.
Right. And it could even lead to companies changing their products.
Yeah. It could.
That's awesome.
It's like we're all in this together.
Yeah, like a big feedback loop.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of feedback loops, social media plays a big part in all of this.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's a great way to share info,
Mm-hmm.
but it can also create these echo chambers where
Right.
people just hear what they want to hear.
Exactly.
And they don't think critically.
Yeah. Social media has like totally changed the beauty industry.
It really has.
It affects like everything
Yeah.
from how products are made to what people want.
Right.
But it can be good and bad.
In what way?
Well, it gives a voice to anyone.
Yeah.
Like you can share your experience, good or bad.
So it's like this giant global focus group.
Exactly. But the downside is
Yeah.
it can make people want instant results
Mm-hmm.
and focus on looks over safety.
Right. You just see all these perfect pictures online.
Yeah. And those filters,
Yeah.
they don't help.
They really distort reality.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we like become more discerning?
It's tough.
Yeah.
But I think we need to start questioning.
What do you mean?
Like when you see a product online,
Yeah.
ask yourself who's promoting it.
Okay.
Why are they doing it? Are they upfront about the risks?
So basically, don't just consume.
Right.
Actually engage.
Yeah.
So instead of just liking a post, we should stop and think,
Yeah.
is this something I really want?
Yeah.
What are the risks and benefits?
Yeah,
and were
really.
there other ways to get the same result?
It's all about taking control and making choices.
That makes sense to you.
Yeah,
This has been really eye-opening.
I'm
It
glad.
makes you realize that even choosing a lip gloss
Right.
is a big deal.
It can be.
It's not just about vanity.
No,
It's about science and responsibility. We've
exactly.
learned so much about capsaicin and the power of those personal stories
Right.
and how social media plays a role.
Definitely. This has been a deep dive.
It really has.
And hopefully it's helped you think differently about your beauty routine.
I think so.
Yeah,
And hopefully it'll help people avoid any unexpected burns.
that's the goal.
Thanks for joining us on this spicy journey.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay beautiful.
And safe.
Yes!
Oh.
Safely, of course. Yeah, it's like we're all part of this big feedback loop,
Right.
helping to make the beauty industry safer and more honest. And speaking of feedback loops,
Yeah.
social media is a big part of this too, right?
Huge.
I mean, it's amazing for sharing information,
Yeah.
but it can also, create these echo chambers where people just hear what they want to hear
Mm-hmm. And they don't even realize it.
and they don't really think critical about it.
Exactly.
Social media has totally changed the beauty industry, though, right?
It's crazy how much it's changed things.
Like in what way?
Well, it affects like everything,
Yeah.
from how products are developed to what people even want.
Yeah.
But it's a double-edged sword.
Oh, how so?
On the one hand,
Yeah.
it gives everyone a voice.
Yeah.
Like you can share your experience, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah. It's like having access to this giant global focus group.
Totally.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand,
Yeah.
social media can fuel this need for like instant results.
Okay.
And it makes people focus more on how things look
Yeah.
rather than, safety or long-term health.
Right. Because you're scrolling through all these perfect pictures.
Exactly. And those filters.
Oh, don't even get me started on filters.
I know, right?
It's like they totally warp your perception of what's real.
They really do.
Yeah,
Make it hard to tell what's achievable.
exactly. So how do we learn to be more discerning then?
Well, it's definitely a challenge,
Yeah.
but I think it starts with questioning what we see online.
Okay. Like how?
Like when you see a product being promoted,
Yeah.
ask yourself who's behind it.
Mm-hmm.
What's their motivation? Are they being honest about the risks?
So it's about going from like passively consuming
Mm-hmm.
to actually engaging.
Yeah.
So instead of just hitting the like button,
Right.
we should be hitting the pause
I
button
will do it.
and asking ourselves, wait a minute,
Yeah.
is this really something I want to be putting on my body?
Mhm.
What are the potential risks and benefits?
Right. Are there other ways to get the same result?
Exactly. It's all about taking control and making choices.
That worked for you?
This has been so eye-opening.
Really?
It makes you realize that even something as simple as picking a lip gloss
Right.
can be a big decision.
It can be.
And it's not just about vanity.
At all.
It's about, science and being a responsible consumer.
Exactly.
Wow, we've learned so much today.
We have.
All about capsaicin
Hmm.
and how powerful those personal stories can be.
Yeah, they can really make a difference.
And, the role that social media plays in all of this.
It's definitely a big factor.
This has been a real deep dive.
It has been.
And I hope it's helped everyone listening
Me
to
too.
think more carefully about their beauty routines.
And hopefully avoid any surprise burns.
Yeah, no one wants that. Thanks for joining us on this spicy journey. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay beautiful.